I used to think silence was peaceful, but on the morning I walked into that courthouse, silence felt like a storm waiting to break. Every step echoed through the hallway. Every breath felt heavier than the last. Somewhere behind those walls, a judge was about to decide how my children's lives would look for the next several years. 3 kids, 3 hearts, 1 broken family. My ex-wife was already there when I walked in. She sat straight, looking strong, confident, almost proud. Anyone who didn't know us would think she was the one holding everything together, but I knew how much of that strength was just a mask. We didn't speak, not even a hello. The distance between us felt wider than the years we had spent together. When the judge called our case, the room went quiet. She was asked to speak first. She stood and told her story about how hard it was being a single mother, about bills, about groceries, about school fees, about how I wasn't paying enough. Her voice trembled just enough to sound believable. She told the court that she deserved full child support for all 3 children. I looked at her and wondered when we had become strangers. When it was my turn, I told the truth. I talked about overtime shifts, about missing sleep so I could send money, about how I drove 2 hours every weekend just to see my kids. I didn't try to sound perfect. I just told the judge that I wanted to be treated fairly. The judge listened carefully. Then something unexpected happened. The bailiff walked toward me holding a thick envelope. My heart skipped. "This was submitted earlier today," the judge said. "You may open it." My hands were shaking as I broke the seal. Inside were documents I had been waiting for, financial records I had requested through legal channels. They showed deposits, transfers, payments, more money than she had ever admitted to making. I slowly laid the pages on the table. My ex-wife's face changed instantly. Her confidence vanished. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. The judge studied the papers in silence. Minutes passed. Finally, he spoke. "These records indicate income that was not disclosed to the court," he said. "That changes everything." She tried to explain. She said some of the money was borrowed, some was temporary, some was misunderstood. But the numbers didn't lie. I didn't feel happy. I felt tired. Tired of lies. Tired of fighting. Tired of watching my kids be used as tools in a battle that should never have existed. The judge adjusted the child support arrangement based on the real financial situation. He didn't side with either of us. He sided with the truth. When it was over, I sat there for a moment, staring at the empty chair across from me. That chair once belonged to the woman I loved. Outside the courthouse, the sky was gray. My ex-wife walked away without a word. I didn't follow her. There was nothing left to say. That evening, I picked up my children. They ran toward me like nothing in the world was wrong. Their laughter erased every harsh moment of the day. As I held them, I realized something. No matter how ugly adults become, children still believe in love. And that's why the truth matters. Not to win, not to hurt, but to protect the hearts that depend on us the most. I never imagined that the quiet hallway of a courthouse would feel louder than a thunderstorm. Every step I took toward the courtroom echoed in my ears. I wasn't afraid of the judge. I wasn't afraid of my ex-wife either. I was afraid of what today would mean for my 3 children, because no matter what happened between 2 adults, 3 innocent lives were always caught in the middle. My ex-wife was already sitting at her table when I entered. Her back was straight, her lips pressed tight like she was holding something inside. She didn't look at me, not even once. It felt strange, sitting just a few feet from someone who used to fall asleep on my shoulder, someone who once promised we'd grow old together. The clerk called our case. My stomach tightened. We stood. The judge asked her to speak first. She walked forward with confidence, holding a stack of papers. Her voice was calm but sharp, like she had rehearsed every word. She told the court that she was struggling, that raising 3 kids alone was overwhelming, and that I wasn't providing enough support. She asked for full child support payments and additional financial coverage. To anyone listening, she sounded like a mother just trying to survive. But I knew a different story. When it was my turn, I didn't argue. I didn't insult her. I simply told the truth. I said that I loved my children, that I never missed a birthday, that I paid what I could and always tried to give them more when I was able. I told the judge I wasn't running from responsibility. I was asking for fairness. The judge nodded slowly. Then the bailiff walked over and placed a sealed envelope in front of me. My heart stopped. I hadn't expected this moment to happen in front of everyone. I had requested financial documentation weeks ago, but I didn't know it would arrive like this, right here, right now. The judge looked at me. "You may open it." I slid my finger under the seal and pulled the envelope open. Inside were bank statements, income records, tax filings, transaction histories. They belonged to my ex-wife, and they told a story she didn't want told. Her face drained of color. Her hands tightened around the edge of the table. I didn't even have to say anything. The truth was already speaking. The judge took the documents and reviewed them carefully. The silence in the courtroom was heavy. I could hear someone breathing behind me. I could hear pages turning. Finally, the judge looked up. "These records show consistent deposits well above what was reported," he said. "There is evidence of additional income streams that were not disclosed." My ex-wife tried to speak, but the judge raised his hand. Transparency matters in this court. She stared down at the table. I didn't feel victory. I felt sadness, because this wasn't about catching her. It was about protecting the kids from a lie that would have hurt all of us. The judge recalculated the support arrangement based on the new financial information. It wasn't punishment, it was fairness. When the ruling was read, something inside me finally loosened. Not relief, clarity. Outside the courthouse, the air felt different, lighter. My ex-wife walked past me without saying a word. I didn't chase her, I didn't gloat. I just stood there, thinking about the 3 small faces waiting at home. That night, when I tucked my kids into bed, I realized something important. Justice doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes quietly, in sealed envelopes, hard truths, and the courage to stand still when everything feels like it's falling apart. And sometimes, the greatest victory is simply making sure your children grow up in truth. I walked into the courthouse with a knot in my chest, the kind you get when you know your life is about to change. Today wasn't just another court date. This was the moment everything I'd been fighting for would finally be decided. 3 kids, 3 lives tangled up in months of legal battles, sleepless nights, and half-hearted promises from someone who used to be my wife. When my name was called, I took a deep breath and followed the bailiff into the courtroom. The air was heavy with tension. There were other couples waiting, lawyers whispering, pens tapping, and the low hum of anxious conversations. I sat down across from my ex-wife, her posture rigid, her eyes flicking to the clock more than to me. The judge shuffled papers and asked us both to state our cases. My ex-wife stepped up, her voice sharp, telling the judge I owed child support for all 3 children we once shared. She spoke confidently, like someone with something to gain, like she was already celebrating before the battle was even over. When it was my turn, I spoke honestly. I didn't weave excuses. I didn't make myself the victim. I laid out the truth, how hard I'd been working, how I'd provided for the kids, how I wasn't asking to get out of responsibility, just fairness. The judge listened, scribbling notes, glancing at both of us with that unreadable expression they always wear. Then something unexpected happened. The bailiff handed me an envelope, thick, official, and sealed. My heart skipped. I hadn't seen this before. The judge paused and gave me a nod. "Go ahead." The courtroom seemed to hold its breath. I opened it slowly in front of everyone. Inside were documents, proof of her recent earnings, tax records, bank deposits, a timeline of financial activity that painted a very different picture from what she'd told the judge. Her face, it went white. Not a good white, the kind of shock only comes when you know you've been caught in a lie. There was no saying it, but everyone in that room saw it. This wasn't a plea for support. This was a calculated claim. I placed the paperwork on the table, looked her straight in the eye, and told the judge, "Your Honor, these records speak for themselves." The judge leaned forward. "Where did these come from?" he asked. "My financial advisor prepared them, and I requested a full audit before today." A murmur went through the courtroom. The judge reviewed the documents silently, flipping page after page. A few moments felt like hours. Finally, the judge looked up and spoke. He pointed to the records, then to her, and then back at me. "In light of these findings," he said, "the court will adjust the support terms. Fairness will be applied based on actual financial standing." The courtroom exhaled, including me. It wasn't about winning or losing anymore. It was about truth. As we left the courtroom, I felt lighter. Not because the weight of responsibility was gone, it wasn't, but because justice had a chance to be served. And to the 3 kids who deserved stability most of all, I walked away knowing I'd done everything I could to protect their future, fairly, honestly, and without disgrace. Because in a situation like this, truth isn't just important, it's everything.